You're watching HelloNation.
Welcome to the HelloNation podcast, your voices of good news. I'm Shannon Somerville, and joining us as a part of our Hello Automotive series are locally and nationally recognized automotive experts Steve Lustig and Frankie Florey from Autosport Acura of Denville. Guys, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Shannon. How are you?
Doing good. We're getting ready to roll here. We like to start off the show with some good news, and so we ask our guests to start off with some good news from them as well. So tell us a little bit about yourself and a piece of good news you have for us.
My name's Frankie Florey, General Sales Manager here at Autosport Acura of Denville. Some good news is I'll say not really about me, but more about my kid, because love my kids. My daughter just got into her second year of the Gifted and Talented.
Let's go. All right.
Yeah. Takes after her mother.
Steve, how about you?
Steve Lustig. I'm a second generation car dealer. I've been with the Autosport Group pretty much all of my life. It was founded by my father in 1969. I've been running the dealership group and Autosport Acura of Denville since about 2010, I think. So just about 16 years. And good news, I had an emergency dental appointment today. That was great news for me. Fantastic. But really, though, good news.
Whoa.
I mean, kind of like Frankie, I'll have to go to the children first. My youngest son is a freshman in high school, plays very serious lacrosse, and very proud of his. Frankie's got the Gil St. Bernard's Knights vest on
Go
right
Knights.
now. Go Knights. And they won the county championship this year. And I thought that was pretty awesome. And just hats off to all those boys on that team, and mostly the seniors who are moving on to bigger things, and congratulate them for their leadership.
Well, that's awesome. Good news to start off the show here. Some great energy to get things rolling. And Steve, like you mentioned, you've been in the industry a while. So as a part of our Hello Automotive series, we just want to recognize both of you and Frankie, as experts in this field. And I think you guys can give us a really good insight and knowledge that some of our viewers can take into their next car purchase. So let's get rolling right into these questions here. Steve, why is choosing the right dealership such an important part of the vehicle purchasing experience?
Very important for a lot of reasons, and I could probably do a 2-hour answer to this question, but I'll spare everybody the how tedious that would be. But I would say, starting right off the bat, you're making a very significant financial investment. Whether you're financing, whether you're paying cash, whether you're leasing a car, it's a big investment for everybody. An expensive piece of machinery that gets you to where you're going and where you need to be and take your family places all the time. So it's very important that people do research on the dealership, because you're not just going to be buying the vehicle for them or leasing the vehicle from them. You're going to be engaging with them before, you're going to be engaging with them afterwards, you're going to be visiting for service for many years. Cars are complicated these days, things break. And you want to make sure that the dealership that you're working with and going to continue to work with is someone that you want to do business with, and someone who makes an effort to earn your business, more importantly.
Yeah, that's such a good point of just establishing a relationship with someone you're going to have a relationship with for a long time. That being said, Frankie, what are some of the biggest mistakes consumers make when comparing dealerships?
Well, honestly, I think the largest mistake customers make is basing their decisions solely on price. Price is not everything. Like Steven said, you're entering into a relationship with the dealership, so it's not just about the price. You don't want to rush the process. You really want to take your time and make sure that you're really entering the right dealership. Do your research.
So, Steve, what are some of those qualities that drivers should really, really pay attention to when you're going into a dealership and you're trying to evaluate them?
Yeah, I would start by looking at the personnel of the dealership, the leadership structure, who's running the dealership, what business decisions has that person made, what contributions has that person made to the community, how's their community standing, do they get involved in local events in their area? And another thing that people ignore a lot, and it's something that Frankie and I spent a lot of time on cultivating, is what's the demeanor like at the dealership that you're looking at? What is the demeanor of the salespeople, the demeanor of management, the demeanor of the accounting staff, the demeanor of the F&I manager? Does everybody get along? Does it have a good, as I would say, does it have a good vibe? And vibe is as cliche as it may sound,
Yeah.
it's so important in every decision that you make. You can walk into a place and pick up on a vibe very quickly. And does the dealership have a good vibe? Do you like the people there? Are they people that you trust? Is the business owner someone that you trust? And it's going back to what Frankie said before about, the relationship. And you really want to make sure that you're entering into a relationship here with a business you trust and respect their values.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So keep an eye on those vibes. That's a really great tip, especially when you're spending that amount of money. You want to know that you trust those people. For either one of you, just following up on that, are there things you can pick up on that are kind of red flags in the vibe barometer check that you're doing as a consumer?
I think,
We'll let Frankie go here. He's seen it all.
yeah, I mean, I really think just looking around, and if you see customers around the showroom or in the service department that just kind of look like they're freaked out or just unhappy, that's definitely a red flag. But if you look around and see people with smiling faces, with laughter, you go over to the service department and people in the lounge are comfortable and you could tell they're comfortable. That's something you want to see. But again, any type of uneasiness, like loud, obnoxious talking or whatever, that's red flags for sure.
Yeah, nobody wants loud, obnoxious talking. Talk to me
No.
about the dealership service department and long-term support, Frankie. This is something that I know I don't think enough about when I'm thinking about a car purchase. Can you talk more about that and how important it is in the process?
Yeah, that's I think one of the most overlooked aspects of buying a vehicle, because kind of like what Steven said early on, it's not just buying a car, you're entering into a relationship. The sales department kind of initiates that relationship, but the real relationship is between you and the service department. That's where you spend most of your time. So, as a consumer, you want to look for things like technician expertise, appointment availability, communication, transparency, convenience. Are there loaner cars that are offered? Are the advisors responsive? Do they clearly explain all of the costs and repairs and everything involved in your vehicle? The quality, in my opinion, the quality of the service department, it may say more about a dealership than the sales department.
I mean, that's a really interesting point. And as somebody
And
who
that's
is,
coming from someone who runs a sales department.
and as somebody who's experienced maybe on the other side of things, a service department that, wasn't great. I know how important that is now, having gone through that experience. So that's a really great point you make. And Steve, how important are certified technicians and manufacturer trained service teams when it does come to the vehicle ownership and the maintenance?
Yeah, they're incredibly important. The training that certified factory technicians go through is very rigorous. And like I said before, cars, there's things that are going to break in a car all the time. And the cars, I'd say I'm always for technology and advancement and innovation. I certainly am. I think we all are. At the same time, we're making things a lot more complicated in cars. We have a lot more moving parts. There's a lot of electronics. I could feel the vibes from everybody right now saying yes, yes.
Yes. Oh
And
my
it's,
God.
driving like a John Deere, ride-on mower is nice. It really hasn't changed much over the years. Cars have changed an incredible amount. The factories that construct these cars and manufacture these cars, they should be in charge of teaching the technicians and advising the technicians on, I'd say, the idiosyncrasies of specific car. And they know. So factory trained technicians, very, very important. I would say crucial. And going back to what Frankie said, the service department is incredibly important in a dealership. And that is from the service manager, the service advisors, everybody who's involved, all the technicians, the detail department. It's all one, the valet who greets you. It's one big department. And, the funny thing about the car business, and I always say this, everybody is excited to go and buy a car. For the most part, people are really psyched about doing that. No one is ever psyched to visit the service department. No one's really pumped. Hey, I got a transmission problem. I got to go bring my car. No one likes that. So how can you make that experience great for people? So it's in-person training. It's factory trained technicians. It's everybody being on the same page will make the experience really good for somebody. And if something's wrong with the car, we address it. We communicate what's wrong with the car and tell them, give people honest opinions and thoughts about how long it's going to take, manage their expectations, and inform them along the way. And for the most part, people are really okay with that. I'd certainly be okay with that. The one thing that would get me, and I've had cars in service departments or, get stuff done in other places, when I don't hear from them, it drives me nuts. I just want to know what's going on. You could call me and say, "Hey, Mr. Lustig, it might be another 5 weeks for your car." I'll be disappointed, but I'll also be very thankful that someone let me know.
Exactly. So good communication all the way around goes quite a long way. So looking out for that when you're evaluating dealerships, super important to the process. When it comes to evaluating dealerships, I think a lot of people are probably just hopping on Google and looking up online reviews. So Frankie, what role should online reviews and reputation play in the consumer's decision-making process?
Well, they're definitely a valuable research tool. But it's really it should be viewed as part of a larger picture rather than the sole deciding factor. And one thing I always tell customers is look for patterns of reviews. Do you see a consistent pattern of multiple people specifically talking about hidden fees or not being transparent or games or whatever? Or do you see a pattern of customers stating that they had, a great buying experience, there was transparency, excellent service, stuff like that? Because look, nobody's perfect. No dealership's perfect. No business is perfect. There are going to be the bad reviews, but I think an important thing to monitor and to look at is how does the dealership respond to the bad review? Do they respond to the bad review? I think, a dealership or any business that doesn't respond to bad reviews, I think they're doing themselves a disservice because if somebody's, leaves you something bad, well, are you addressing their concerns? Show that you're going to address their concern. Like Steven said, show that you care, earn their business, go the extra mile. Strong reputation that's been built over a year, that's really a good indicator of, how customers expect to be treated.
That's so true. I feel like I'm deep in the comments and seeing how the business responds to somebody complaining because it does tell you so much about
Yeah.
how they run a business. From that perspective and looking for red flags in those reviews, would you say like a 5-star review is something you might want to be wary of? Or something too perfect?
No, I mean, I think just, I think it's just the scale. So people,
Mm-hmm.
just go with the
Got it.
5-star reviews,
Yeah.
but again, I would say within the reviews, don't just look to see like, another 5-star, read them. And again, look for the pattern. Like, are people consistently talking about, the good things? Is it the same good thing that's being brought up over and over again? Or on the other hand, is it something bad? That is important. Definitely plays a role in the decision making process.
Also, a lot of what we've been talking about is the relationship as the cornerstone of this process. And I'd love to get both of your perspectives here. So, what are some signs that the dealership is focused on building that long term relationship rather than just making a sale?
Yeah, I think right off the bat, you would see your initial communications with the dealership will tell you a lot.
Hmm.
If you're shopping for a car, you'd put in an internet lead, a form submission, you click some call to action button and get a response from the dealership. Is there anything personal in the response? Is it just a autoresponder? And then, okay, so maybe it was an autoresponder. Did they follow up with a personal phone call? Did they reach out to you and offer to text you? Did they send you a video introducing themselves? That's a really good way, for us. But I mean, industry wise, I would say that I'd like to see that from any business I was engaging with. And again, this is going to sound like I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but you'll get a vibe, whether it's a digital communication or a phone call. You'll pick up on a vibe whether this dealership is really vested in just making a sale out of me or building a long-term relationship.
Frankie, how about you?
Yeah. Stephen, obviously, he nailed it. But to kind of piggyback, relationship focused dealerships, we're very upfront and transparent with our pricing, our financing terms, trading value, like every aspect of the deal. There's full transparency there. We do not rely, or dealers who care about long term relationships, they don't rely on pressure tactics just to make a sale. They do not do it. One other thing I think to look into, which I think is overlooked as well, is employee longevity at the dealership. Lack of turnover at the dealership says a lot that the dealership is willing to or is interested in making a long-term relationship, and not just the customer, but obviously with its employees. And it really starts with the employee, and then transitions over to the customer. They usually invest heavily in making sure that they keep their staff.
And if
Yeah.
I could return the favor and piggyback on Frankie there, to me, as a dealer principal and running a business, what Frankie said is really the heart of it all. And I'm completely blessed in our group to have a team like we have. And there are days in this, I may be letting out a secret, and people are always saying like, "Oh my God, you must be so busy. You must be so busy." There's a lot of days when I go to work and I'm like, "Can someone give me something to do?" Because the management has handled everything and there's not much to do but maybe sign a check or two. And I'm trying to find something to do, and I'll go start organizing shelves or something. So
Drives us nuts.
his point is really, really good, because it's kind of what I said before too about doing research on the dealership. The demeanor of the staff there and the team. If they're stressed and look happy, they're probably not happy in their job. And if they're happy at work and they all get along, and you can be professional and have fun at the same time. And if there's a fun vibe going on ad nauseum with the vibe, that works. And that works for us really, really well at our dealership. Before Frankie was talking about service department and knowing everybody in service advisors, the one thing I hear all the time from people is that they love coming to get their car serviced at our dealership because they see the same faces all the time. Our service advisors know most of the clients by name, which is really nice because they've been there for a very long time. We have a service manager who's been there for 20 years, and she's amazing.
So looking for that. And Frankie, you mentioned looking at the tenure of some of the employees, which is something I never would have thought of. So I really like that insight. So to kind of wrap things up, let's ask both of you guys, what practical advice can you give drivers who are trying to find a dealership that they can trust for years to come and that their kids can trust for years to come? What you got?
I would say do your homework, research the dealership, look at the reviews, ask friends, family. Like Steven said, are they involved in their local communities? Because obviously that means, it says that they're interested in not just being a business, but actually reaching out and returning the favor to their community. I hate to say it, but visit some dealerships, visit multiple dealerships. How are you treated when you visit that dealership? And when you do, don't just go to the sales department, go to the service department. Just look around the service department, because again, way after you purchase a vehicle, you're going to spend hopefully not a lot of time, but you will spend more time in service than you do in sales.
Steven, I got a question on that, because you're talking about, and I keep using the word vibe. I love it. What is your belief in leadership for your team then? Because I think it says a lot. I mean, we're just meeting just Frankie, but I can hear it. And again, he said it, 14 years only here. That says a ton. What is your belief in leadership? What is?
For me, it was like I had an idea of what, and like I said earlier, I'm a second generation person. My father, smartest person I know, my father, who started the group in 1969, really started the auto group because he was racing cars, and basically said that he was, it's funny. My father's a metallurgical engineer. He's basically a scientist and worked for Exxon when they were Esso, American Brake Shoe, traveled all over the world for metallurgy, and just wasn't really making a lot of money. And he liked cars and wanted to race cars, and was smart enough to realize that he wasn't going to be able to accomplish what he wanted in life with the job he had. So he basically leveraged everything he had and started the auto group in 1969 with one small store and built it up over a long time. When I became in charge, I had a very similar vision to my father, but it was a little bit different. And I had a different idea of what the team should be. And I always thought that, my vision was, and it's not particularly unique. I believe when you go to a really nice hotel, a Ritz-Carlton, the Four Seasons, one of these resorts, they've done an incredible job of training their staff and providing an incredible experience. Everything is an experience there. The check-in is an experience, every part of it. And I said, I would really like to apply that thought process and experience to the car dealership business. Why can't we do that? Why does everybody think that it's a terrible experience to go to a car dealership? I never thought that. I thought it's pretty cool. So how can we do that? So I started really researching this, and I came across some friends that had the Ritz-Carlton Credo, basically their training guidelines of how they train their employees. And I took that and I grabbed it and I learned it and I read about it and I slowly installed it at our dealership. And when I interview people, I want to make sure that people understand where I'm coming from with the experience part of it. And we were building a team. We were looking at people in the hospitality industry. I was very lucky, Frankie came to us, and Frankie, I'll tell your story for you. Frankie was working on Wall Street for a long time after being in the Marines, and he wanted to be in the car business. And he called his uncle, who had worked for my father at a different dealership. And his uncle told him, if you want to be in the car business in New Jersey, go work for the Lustigs. So I was very lucky that Frankie showed up at our door and really embraced what we were trying to do and worked his way up through every position in the sales department to where he's running the whole thing now. And everybody who works underneath him has the training that he's received. And I guess to answer your question more succinctly, can you be an ambassador to my ideas, to my plan, to our business? So we look for everybody to really be not just an ambassador to the Acura brand at the Acura dealership, can they be an ambassador for the Autosport brand? And if they buy into that, they can work for us for as long as they would like. And we really have very little turnover, which is a complete anomaly in this business.
What would you attribute that to if you could point to one thing in your leadership style?
I would say it's communication. Everybody knows they can talk to me about anything. And my management team, Frankie in our variable ops department and Steve Farisi in our fixed ops department, they run their departments and they know what's got to be done. They know what my vision is. And they joke all the time. Their main job is to make sure I don't have to come to work every day. That's really what they want. That's what we all want. And they're great at that. So I would say leadership wise, have an idea, believe in your idea, conviction, communicate that idea as much as you need to get the buy-in from people. And if you're not getting the buy-in from people, you may not have the right people. Or maybe your idea is not clear, you're not communicating it well. But when it all works, it's a beautiful thing.
It sounds like the vibes are high at Autosport Acura of Denville. So
100%.
Great
Definitely.
conversation here. I do want to get to some fun stuff here. We've talked a little bit about Denville, northern New Jersey. We're going to test your knowledge in a little bit of a different way with our Hello Hometown Trivia. I'm going to ask you a few fun questions about Denville and northern New Jersey. We're going to see how you do. No pressure, but as local automotive experts, expectations are a little high, okay, guys? I know you can handle it, though. North Jersey, I'm from North Jersey as well, so I think you guys got this.
And we heard the word community quite a bit, so just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And now let's see if we really mean it, right?
All right, we'll kind of alternate between the two of you, starting off with Steve. Denville is commonly known by what nickname?
Denville is the hub of Morris County.
You got it. All right, Frankie,
All right.
Pressure's on. What major New Jersey highway runs directly through Denville? The major New Jersey highway.
I believe is Route 46.
You got it. All right. 2 for 2 here. Nice job, gentlemen. All right. What county is Denville located in?
That's easy for me. I grew up here. It's Morris County.
All right. Yeah, me too. Frankie, which New Jersey season do most local drivers complain about the most? Winter pothole season or summer construction season?
By far, winter pothole season. Landslides.
Summer construction's pretty bad, though, I will say. All right.
Yeah.
Correct. Steve, what popular outdoor recreation area near Denville is known for boating, fishing, and hiking?
Would that be Torn County Park?
You got it. Or Rockaway River Lake area could have been accepted, but
Right.
we'll take it.
Yep,
We'll take
that's the
it.
Rockaway River right there. Yep.
You got it. Frankie, which nearby town is famous for its historic downtown and green? And if you get this one wrong, I'm going to be disappointed because I went to high school in that area. So a little hint there.
Yeah, that's definitely Morristown.
Morristown. I'm a Morristown colonial. Nice job there.
Go Knights.
Steve, roughly how far is Denville from New York City? Less than 10 miles, about 35 miles, or over 100 miles?
About 35 miles.
You got it. Doesn't feel like that sometimes when you're sitting in
No,
the car,
it's the
especially.
perfect distance. It really is the perfect distance.
All right, Frankie, what is one thing drivers in northern New Jersey deal with regularly that people in other parts of the country may not? Is it going to be heavy winter road salt or mountain driving?
That's going to be heavy winter road salt.
The worst, especially
So
on those
bad.
cars, too.
It's so
It was
bad.
a rough one this year.
It was rough. It was rough. Sure was.
All right, Steve. Morris County is known for balancing suburban living with access to what major benefit? Is it beaches, farmland, or commuter access to New York City?
I mean, you could say all three. I mean, you're not far from the beach, and I live in Western Morris County, and there are some beautiful farms out here.
Mm.
But definitely, the convenience of commuting to the city is really what it's all about. Great train stations, everything.
Absolutely. Got to go to the Garden, go see the Yankees, the Knicks, all the things.
That's
All
it.
right. All right, Frankie, what is one thing longtime New Jersey drivers always seem to have an opinion about? Here we go. Traffic shortcuts or pizza rankings.
Oh man. Well, both are true, but I think thanks to Mr. Portnoy, we're going to go with pizza rankings.
Pizza rankings. I think both are true, exactly.
A lot of good pizza in Denville. A lot of good pizza.
And there's also just so many opinions about traffic shortcuts. I feel like that's
Oh yeah.
that's a
Wait,
given there.
did Portnoy rank any there?
He did. Yeah, he ranked. Cafe Crevier, Forte, Tabor.
And
He did a bunch.
and your favorites are, gentlemen?
My personal favorite, I love Cafe Crevier, which I believe just burnt down actually. So that's kind of suck.
They did have a fire there, and I'll go with Frankie on that. Their Thinny Thin is
Unbelievable.
pretty awesome.
Check it out. I
Have
haven't
to.
been back in a while, so I'll have to go check that out for sure. You guys
You've got
crushed
Caniglio's
it.
in Morristown, right?
What?
Which
She's
one?
got a Morristown person. You can just go to Caniglio's. I'll give
Caniglio's,
them a
yeah.
shout out. They make great stuff.
They do.
All right. You guys crushed this contest here with our Hello Trivia. So congratulations to you guys. I got to play game show host. To end the show here, I was wondering if you could both just share one of your memorable experiences working in the automotive industry. And just, I'm sure you meet a lot of people and get to help people sometimes buy their first car. And there's a lot of moments that you're a part of in people's lives. So can you share some memorable stories with us from that?
I have one. Well, actually, probably have two. But first one is we had a customer. She was in a pretty rough situation. I stayed late. This is when I was actually in finance. I stayed late with her. I was working the bank real hard just to get her approved. And we ended up making the deal. Did everything for her. Helped her out a little bit. But she just gave me this huge hug and was crying. Thanking me up and down. And that was honestly, that was 12 years ago. That same customer just picked up her fifth car from me, I think 2 months ago. And it's great. Like we actually became friends. She's got my cell phone number, so she just texts me whenever she needs something. And of course, I hit her right back, and to help her out whatever I can. Just make it again as easy as I can for her. But that was, I don't think I'll ever forget that moment. Feeling like, wow, like I really helped somebody.
That's awesome. Steve, how
Yeah.
about you?
I was thinking about this as Frankie was talking. This is actually kind of a funny story. So, we're in Denville, New Jersey, and where our dealership is, we're on Route 10, and behind us is a residential area. So there have been times where you know our lights are not facing directly straight down in the parking lot, and a nearby neighbor may say to the township, "Hey, the Autosport Acura, their lights are supposed to be straight down, and it was angled off." So every now and then, or we had a sign out front that say, something like, you know, uh, "We buy used cars," and it's not an approved sign. Someone just stuck it in the ground, and the township will send me a letter, and I'll have to basically go to municipal court. It's not something that happens a lot, but it's happened a few times, as any business owner who has a property in a town will have to deal with. So I'm in court. This is probably 10, 15 years ago. I'm in Denville Municipal Court and waiting my turn for a sign infraction or a light infraction. And they finally call me, like, Stephen Lustig from Autosport Acura of Denville. And I approach, introduce myself, where I'm from, say, I'm here for, Your Honor, this is what I'm here for. And the judge looks at me and now addresses the entire courtroom and says, if anybody would like, I may need to recuse myself from this matter, as I have bought at least 3 vehicles from this Acura dealership. And he kind of smiled and looked around the room, and nobody had a problem with it. And he looked at me and said, Mr. Lustig, do you have a problem? Do I need to recuse myself? And I said, no, Your Honor, this is completely fine. And he looks at me, he goes, how's that Frankie Florey doing over there? Like, he's doing great. And immediately called Frankie afterwards. I'm like, thank you. You got away with a very small fine, but it was great. And that's, it's just cool because, I did not see this judge ever in the showroom. I never saw him. I'm not there all the time, but knowing how much he liked the dealership, and I saw him recently, and he still buys cars from us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's great. So we managed to build a really nice relationship with an important cog of our community, if I say.
Yes.
Definitely helped out. Good job, Frankie,
Yes.
on that one.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
of all the deals I was able to make, I'm glad I made that one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. But really speaks to
3
also...
times.
Yeah.
3 times, not just me.
Yeah, 5, but who's counting me? Yeah, it's okay.
No big deal.
It speaks to the way you guys are really ingratiated in your community and just respected by the community, and you've built those relationships, and it really shows. And you're definitely the true local experts, so we're so happy to have you both. Steve, Frankie, thank you so much for joining us and giving our viewers such great insight.
Absolutely.
We learned a lot about what to look for in the vibes. You just know when the vibes are right in a dealership. Great advice all around, so really appreciate it. Make sure to go visit Autosport Acura of Denville. Go say hi to Steve and Frankie. They can help you out. And thank you, listeners. I'm Shannon Somerville, signing off with Steve Lustig and Frankie Florey from Autosport Acura of Denville. And this has been the HelloNation podcast, where good news travels faster. See you next time.
Thanks for watching HelloNation.